So, firstly, congratulations to Atika on this wonderful podcast. There's a lot of great content, a lot of tools on it, but there's also light-hearted moments as well. And myself, Gully, a very good friend of Atika, I'm sure she'll tell you that. If she doesn't, she's lying. I only picked some of my highlights, and I have to start with Dr. Cameron Ahmed. The episode that he features on, he talks about the need for planning. Now, I am an awful planner, I know this. Even planning this, to do this highlights, is taking me forever. If you don't have your stuff together, you can do it via the means of planning. And meditation, exercise, all goes hand in hand. I found that even getting the body moving for me is crucial. So when I don't do it, I don't feel great. So that guy knows his stuff, and he's a doctor, so bloody listen to him. Nabil Abdul Rashid, you are one very funny man. I was laughing on my way through this podcast. You're so complimentary to Atika's age. Yes, Atika does have the vampire gene, which means that she doesn't age.
Were you even old enough to go out back then?
I was actually old enough to go back.
You snuck out, didn't you? Oh, like you snuck out.
I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to heights. But MP Steve Baker is a man who isn't. He skydives. He recounts a story where his parachute lands in a cactus farm, and he also rides a motorcycle. And Atika even said this. She said, when she thinks about politicians, you just think, you're in the office all day, work, home, sleep, work, whatever. So Yash Rai, he gave a beautiful singing performance, vocal performance, and he even got Atika to sing, and for that alone, I think that's got to be one of the standout moments. I often find that with Hollywood, the stuntmen don't get the credit. Now, James Bamford, the stunt coordinator, a man in Hollywood, he knows what it's all about when it comes to pain, and he's conditioned his body to deal with pain. He has a very high tolerance for pain, and that's part of his job. I will glide myself over open air, take myself from this end of the sofa to that end. 3, 2, 1. Now, not only does Ali Zafar have a fantastic voice as a singer, he makes many good points in his episodes. He talks about finding happiness, we're looking for it in all the wrong places, what fulfills our soul. I think, that clip to me, he also seems like a guy who's got his spirit in check.
We need to redefine the meaning of success and happiness, right? And for me, it's always been two things: that how much at peace your heart is, your soul is, and for me that success comes from, for me, the meaning of success is being happy, and nobody can be consistently happy and at peace. But
Christian talks about challenges, and even Robert De Niro has his own challenges, and Christian has his challenges, and everyone's got their own challenges, and I think that's important to understand. So he talks about patience. Yes, I think in this generation, patience is a real virtue, and if we can learn that, we can go far. Another very touching and emotional episode with Babs Withers this time, and she unfortunately lost her daughter to bowel cancer, and Babs talks about grief shaming. If it hurts to cry, cry and get it out. I think when Babs was speaking about her loss and her grief, I think hearing Atika well up and share that emotion, I thought that was deep.
So I hadn't really cried properly since both parents died, and I cried for them, but I've never really been a crier, but I have cried since Georgina died.
Now, I think one of the most inspiring and perhaps emotional episodes was in fact when Dr. Mohammed Kajouj guested on the podcast, and he's been treating patients for a while now, and talks about the trauma that actually, the things that doctors see, and I think it just makes you appreciate so much what we have here and the people that look after us.
The one in Syria would leave more psychological trauma on any person, because you experience a lot of life-threatening conditions, a lot of injuries would stick into your mind forever, and you would never forget them.
Steve Gilbert, OBE, coming on a podcast and talking about his battle with mental health, including his bipolar disorder. Obviously, we are having the discussions now but it's so important just to be able to recognise these things. And I think as well, just lend an ear and just listen. Some people just want to talk. Davina Guyton, a guest on the Positive Solace podcast, this really struck a chord with me. She talks about the fact that we should be promoting the profession of being a nurse. There is a lot of bad press in terms of association with pay, and of course, personally for me, give them all the money they want, nurses, because they are the true heroes of this country. Now, if there's one thing I'm sure we all agree on, there is no place for racism. Now, Michelle Sahin talks about her experiences as a black woman, and she talks about the education system, and I think it keeps coming back to this. We need to enforce a new way of learning. Where have we learned about our own history in terms of colonisation, partition, and black history?
Completely consumed with the Holocaust and how it can happen, having no knowledge that there was a Holocaust in the Congo where actually 5 more million people actually died.